Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the BSc News Friday Night Live, and also the BSc News podcast. As you might have seen from our Twitter, we have a very special episode, Women in Web3. What is the future? Discussing that. Two very special guests at the moment. Would you like to introduce yourself? If we just start maybe clockwise, Sally.
Yeah, sure. Hey, everyone. I'm Sally from Crypto Tech Women, an NFT project with 8,888 generative art. We launched back in, I believe, February. Head of marketing. So excited to be here and talk about how we can support more women and women projects in the NFT and crypto space.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And Coco.
Hi, everyone. I'm an NFT artist and illustrator. I'm also the founder of Stardust Society, which is an upcoming generative project launching in early June.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. And thank you again for being here. To our listeners and viewers as well, we do hope to have a few more guests as well, but they might join during the stream. I'm not going to talk too much, but an interesting sort of statistic to start us off. It's not just crypto where there's not many females there. So I've got a little statistic here. So in the technology world, only 70% of people in leadership roles are male, and only 19% of essentially the workforce are female. And then later on, I've got some more statistics as well that we can go through, but this does reflect into crypto. But first of all, why do you think that is, that it's predominantly sort of male field?
I can go first. I think that in general, I think many professions that have to deal with finances have been historically dominated by males, and just the way that society has functioned as the males, being the breadwinners of the family. And so I know for me, I never really thought that I could have an interest in investments or any sort of financial profession. It just didn't feel like feminine, and I didn't really see my place in it. And so I think that a lot of women feel the same way. They just don't think that it's possible for them. But now I think that's definitely changing, and we're seeing a turn and a shift happen.
Okay, no, thank you. And Sally, why do you think perhaps that it's predominantly males that work in the technology field?
Interesting question. And I always have these discussions with men and get their opinions as well. So I think what we've discussed in general, like what I personally had conversations with other men, have been that they say that men are just naturally more interested, like early on, they are playing video games. They're interested in like finding out how things work since like early childhood. They're just like really interested in like analyzing things, where like maybe like girls are more like playing with dolls or something. We do see that shift changing now with like, I know personally my nieces, they're both young and they're both into like these games now, and they're on Discord and all of that. So I think it is shifting where more of women are getting early on into technology, and hopefully that'll continue to grow and we'll see a lot more in the future.
Great, yeah, and it's obviously you mentioned children at an early age, boys playing with technology, that sort of thing. Do you think that young children, toddlers, babies, that sort of thing, maybe are conditioned into a male and female gender role, or do you think it's sort of natural for men to follow a different path than women?
I think that's a really good conversation, and that could probably lead into a whole different discussion of gender constructs, because personally I think it's like a little bit of both. I think that we really do kind of box young kids into these gender roles very early on, and so I think that is a huge reason why we're seeing more men dominate these sort of spaces. But, you know, kind of what Sally was saying as well, there is this like natural instinct or like draw to these sort of like environments and activities. I think just like the testosterone or something. So I think it's a little bit of both, but I would definitely say that society has a huge hand in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I think as like things are becoming more neutral, I feel like that's also like the opportunity for parents to be able to just teach their kids more about it. So like I personally have a 2-year-old toddler, and I try to get him to play Barbies with me, and he like throws them. So so I think it's also like a personality thing. Like he'll wear pink socks because I put them on him, but like certain things he just like gravitates towards more. So I think it's also just like a personality thing. But I think yeah, parents could just encourage both like genders or anybody to be into technology early on. And yeah, I think like with parents, a lot of the times they are sharing their phones or their tablets early on. So I think it is more common now for people to start learning about technology earlier on, as early as babies.
Yeah. And then even in STEM fields and computer science fields, often there are classes of 100% at universities, 100% just males. And do you think that perhaps if a class or like a university class or maybe a school class, I'm not, like we have A levels and GCSEs over here. I'm not sure what they have where you are. But yeah, in a class, in a school, if there's a class of all males, would that be off-putting for a young girl at school to be in that situation? Is that perhaps a reason as well why at an early age they might not go down that route?
I think it ties back to just like individual personalities. I know. So for me, I majored in business, and that's also very heavily male dominated. I would say about 80% of the people in that class, in those classes, were men. Women tended to go into like more communications, like PR and writing. And so I would say that I think it just has to do with personality and what people like. That's like a huge factor into all of that.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think it really is kind of relative, you know, down to the personality. But I think, yeah, of course it's intimidating, and that just is another thing that kind of stems from like historical I don't want to say trauma, but like just issues that are prevalent in the strength of men over women. It is intimidating to be the only woman in a room sometimes, you know, unless you're really able to hold your own and be confident enough to overcome that.
Yeah. In the crypto space at the moment, this is including, primarily focusing on Gen Z, which perhaps are more liberal maybe than older generations. There's still, over double the amount of males than females. And obviously, as women yourselves, have you faced any challenges, specifically being a woman in crypto and also leading a project?
So I have an experience I can share. You know, not as much now, because I think that there's actually like a huge movement going on, and women are finally kind of getting their share of the pie in crypto. But when I first entered the space, I remember a lot of the Twitter spaces were like heavily male dominated. And I went in to try and talk about my project and like my passions. And instead of really listening to me, I remember one of the guys was just like, "Oh, you're cute," you know, like just didn't even hear what I had to say. So I think there is kind of like an issue of not being taken seriously for intellectual value sometimes. But again, I do think that has changed a lot.
Okay. And Sally, have you faced any challenges at all just based on your gender?
I think I'm more like used to it because like as I mentioned, I've been in business, and it's always been it's always been men. I've worked in, big corporate companies and in leadership, and it's always been men. So I feel like I'm pretty like familiar with experiencing that and just like how to navigate through it. So yeah, I would say not so much like online, but maybe more so in person in real life, with just like the people that I talk to about like NFTs and crypto are men. When I do try to speak to my female friends about it, I think they get lost, or they're like not really interested or not really sure about it. So yeah, my goal is to eventually get them to come over to this side, and be interested in it. But yeah, I think that would say that's the biggest challenge, is just like in real life, my network is mainly male for NFTs and crypto. And so I think that's why there's these great communities and projects, so that you can connect with other women in the space that are as passionate as you, and that you can like get excited about it and just, yeah, be in it together.
Yeah. Do you ever think that it's going to be half and half? So, well, pretty much equal, like 50-50, 50% men, 50% female?
I think
I
it could
think
be.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it could be. I feel like there's so many women projects now that, like personally, my entire feed is women projects. And so, yeah, to me, it does feel like it's going to become, but I did see a statistic the other day that was like, yeah, still only like 1 in 4 women know what NFT is, or something like that. So, and still like 81% of men are buyers. So I think there's still a big ways to go, but yeah, 81% is, or what would that be? Like, yeah, my math, 18 or 19% is better than like the 1% that it used to be. So I think we are going towards that path.
Great. So, sorry, Coco, I cut you off right at the beginning of what you were about to say, or about 30 seconds ago. Is there something, sorry, you'd like to say?
Oh, I totally agree. I think as far as I see in my feed, it just like Sally, it's so many women entering this space and like realizing that they have this huge opportunity here to not get left behind as Web3 is starting in this new frontier. I think that the biggest challenge in like really getting that 50% is going to be really like the global social status of a woman. So like in America, we're really free to challenge the gender norms and our roles in society. But in somewhere like in Asia or India, it might be harder for women to do the same things that we have here. So I think that's where we might see a little bit of the percentages still lower than males, just until we can get the rest of the world to catch up, I think.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll also add, like, I think there's already some great advocates out there. So there's like Eva Longoria, Reese Witherspoon, a lot of the people that we have looked up to and known. And so they're like helping advocate for the space and bringing more women into it. And then I know with Facebook, like they're planning, a whole shift into promoting NFTs on Instagram. And I believe Instagram is mainly women. And so that just opens up like a huge opportunity for more people to like trust NFTs and the space even more. So I think we will see that shift in the next year.
And do you think, sort of as a society or private platforms as well, should be putting resources in or focusing on females in particular, and to try and bring them into crypto and try and bring them into sort of STEM fields?
Yeah, I know for us, for crypto tech women, that is one of our missions, is to help bring more women into the Web3 space and into the technology space. And so, like our founder Gigi, she's an engineer. I myself am in marketing, and so like part of our roadmap is creating programs. Like we want to build educational programs inside of our platform where people can learn, like for example, basics of coding. And they have like people there to help support them, and then they could advance to another program, like a boot camp where they're doing like 6 weeks of a coding project that will eventually lead them into a job in engineering. So we definitely are one of those projects where we are hoping to bring more women into it.
Great.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, I'm very passionate about educating women as well. I host a Twitter space on Tuesday mornings where we basically just invite women to ask any question they have about crypto, because a lot of times it's intimidating to ask these questions in male dominated spaces. We really encourage there's no stupid questions. And so I think if we just keep creating environments like that and crypto tech women, to really create this welcoming space for women to come into the Web3 space, and I think that we'll see many more.
Yeah, I know for us, one of the reasons I also joined this project is that is a huge component. You mentioned Twitter spaces. So Gigi is really great about hosting on Sundays. She'll bring in for the project women and get them to talk about their experience and interview them. And a lot of the times it could be a YouTuber that has 6 million or it's all sorts from all walks of life. And also on Wednesdays we like to host events too. So I think that's how we are also helping.
Fantastic. So how can we for the future sort of make sure women have the same opportunities in crypto and in technology as I mean, actually, I'm going to take a step back. Do you think women have the same opportunities to enter the space as men?
I don't know. That's a hard question. I think my gut says it's hard. My gut says no, because it takes some capital to get in at certain points for most of us, and it's just another one of those things where men are usually get paid higher than women or know more about finances than women. And so I think there's still kind of less of an opportunity for women to have money to try out a new investment and know what we're doing. So I think it's starting to get better, but yeah, I'd say it's a little less opportune for us.
Yeah, I would also say that women online, this is something that I've heard a lot of times, is they're more likely to try to be scammed. So just because you're a woman, you are seen as more vulnerable. And so, yeah, naturally, hackers and people are going to try to, because you might be naive or they might think you're inexperienced. They are more likely to try to hack you or do something in the space. So I think that, women are also fearful of that, or maybe men are, maybe, I don't know, maybe they're not as fearful of that, or maybe they are, but yeah, definitely women are more vulnerable to that. So that's a big part, and why creating more education around it and how to stay safe is really important.
Yeah, I think for new people in the crypto space, because Telegram, Discord, if you're part of some NFT projects there, the amount of scammy messages you'll get are unreal. So I think education is beyond important. With the whole crypto being, well, a lot of crypto being called decentralized, and a lot of it, well, some of it actually being decentralized, do you think there's more opportunities for women there? Do you think that the decentralized idea will close the gender pay gap? And do you think that's the way forward to close the gender pay gap, through decentralization?
I think you bring up a really great point. I think that there's a lot of possibilities in the way that decentralization can lower or equalize the playing field for everybody. I think one of those things is just, you really don't have to be doxxed in a decentralized environment like crypto. So you can just have your NFT as your profile picture. It'd be anonymous, and you could still do your trading. You can be a part of a DAO. You can pretty much participate in every aspect of the ecosystem, and no one would even know your gender if that's what you wanted. So I think that aspect of decentralization like really brings a lot of promise for that. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that's one of the really exciting things about the space and why I'm like really passionate about it, because I think historically it's always been like white male are like, you know, they are the ones earning the most, getting the jobs, like just advancing in their careers. And then it just goes down where it's like Latinas or Black women, like they're at the very bottom and all of that. And so I think it just feels more like a kind of equal playing field where it's you're an avatar. You can be an ape, you can be a woman, you could be a male, you could be like, you know, a baby, like you could be anything. And so I think people in that sense are less just like discriminating against you. And so yeah, I think that's why it's exciting, because it's like it feels like it's equal, like everyone is equal, we're all learning about this together. We are all just have opportunities, whether it's like for a job, whether it's for anything we want to do. So I think, yeah, that's why one of the reasons I'm really passionate about it, because it's a way for women and minorities and everybody to be more equal.
Brilliant. Yeah, and I think the sort of openness of blockchain technology, obviously you can see everything there. So you can see exactly, you know, how much people are getting paid, what goes where, and that sort of thing. Also, we've got another guest that's sort of in the lobby. So I'm just going to invite you in. And I think it is Maria from Everyday Goddess. Hello, Maria. How are you?
Hello, I'm so sorry it was not working for me. And actually, I think there are quite a few people in the waiting room when you go to the streaming service. And there are like a lot of messages asking how to get in. So I think for people who didn't go through the Telegram chat, they're in the waiting room.
Oh,
sorry, just FYI.
No, thank you very much. I can only see you, which is odd. But I'll have a look in the Telegram chat in just a moment. But yeah, welcome. Would you be able to just introduce yourself and introduce Everyday Goddess as well?
Of course. Again, I'm so sorry for the tardiness, but my name is Maria. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Shiny and Everyday Goddesses. Shiny is a metaverse gallery, and Everyday Goddesses is a collection aimed at growing female influence in the NFT space, spreading blockchain knowledge, cultural diversity, and empowering artists. We've launched this March, and I'm very excited to bring real change to the space.
Great, thank you very much. And yeah, I mean, yeah, and sorry that there's been technical issues that have stopped you coming in the space, but it's great to have you here. Obviously, so far we've talked about the role of women. Well, not necessarily the role of women, but why perhaps women aren't as prevalent in crypto as men. And in your view, why do you think this is? So, why is crypto male dominated, and also perhaps why is technology male dominated?
I mean, as you mentioned, you really take the field that's on the crossroads of tech, finance, and art, and all of those fields have unfortunately been so male dominated for centuries, really. So if anything, I see us making a real change and a real shift here in Web3 space. I think it's a lot of gatekeeping and barriers to entry, unfortunately. But again, I think Everyday Goddesses, along with Coco and along with Crypto Tech Women, amazing projects as well, are changing this.
Fantastic. And what barriers to entry do women face when they're trying to get into crypto or just a career in Web3 perhaps?
There are quite a lot. I mean, to name a few, even the social applications that are used in the space. So Discord, for example, is very counterintuitive to a lot of women who are not immersed in the gaming space. So the platforms themselves are not something women were familiar with historically. Also, I think the education really, it's a very narrow circle, and sometimes it seems like, speaking of gatekeeping, it seems like the information is being thrown only in that circle, and there's not enough education, and there's a lot of shaming as well when someone is not familiar with certain terminology, when someone is not familiar with certain ways of working there's not enough basic education. So I think that's also something we're trying to tackle in the space and really help our newcomers in the space and women who are new to NFTs along the way and answer any and all questions.
Definitely good. And have you experienced anything, in the crypto space that's, because you're a woman, that's perhaps, any barriers to entry yourself in the crypto space, just, primarily because of your gender?
Honestly, I wouldn't say so. I mean, I'm coming from my background is in fashion production, actually, also very female-dominated industry, I would say. So professionally in Web2, I wouldn't say that I personally was facing it, but the fashion industry is really, unfortunately, like photographers field, for example, is very male-dominated. But I think it's the way I was brought up personally that, I don't know, it was engraved in my mind that you can do anything you want, and like my gender is never a factor. So maybe even if I was challenged in that way, it was not something I was conscious of or was lucky not to be conscious of. Specifically in Web3 space, I think a lot of women can relate if you're joining specifically Twitter spaces, and a lot of them can be really, male dominated with a certain, vocabulary used and a certain people speaking, and they might be a bit, condescending at times. But I think that's pretty much it. Apart from that, I mean, we are trying, as many other peer female-led projects, we're trying to change the way things are done in this industry, in a sense that we're against FOMO, against grind. We actually didn't even have an allow list ourselves. So I think in that way, the users might have been challenging us because we're doing something a bit differently. But I think in the end, we found our audience, and I would say successfully challenged those norms.
Fantastic. And what key, this is to everyone, what key things, sort of perhaps as a society or as a social group, crypto social group on Twitter, Instagram, can we do, or everyone do, to level the playing field and sort of make it more accessible to everyone?
I think, again, education really, and I'm talking like from really, really basic things, and for projects really to spend time. And even though it might seem everyone knows this, it's not the case. There are a lot of people, a lot of women who want to jump into the space. And if as a project you're doing a lot of groundwork, a lot of education work, I think that really helps. And also a lot of free resources. And I know a lot of female projects and projects that are here today as well doing a lot of work to provide amazing free educational content. I think that's really, really helpful. But also just being mindful that people are coming in from different backgrounds, and trying on a project level again to lower those barriers, in a sense that making your Discord a bit more, for example, some Discords are adapting, they have gender roles. So, there's not this talk like, hey, bro, everyone is treated respectfully. Everyone feels like they belong in a sense. I think the sense of belonging is very, very important, and every project should be striving to make it a point to make everyone feel like the space is for them.
Great.
I think too. Oh, go ahead.
I think, definitely the education part of it. I would say also, if you have a community, inviting women into that community to help get more educated and help the women audience as well, like you guys, supporting projects. Like if you're on Twitter and there's women projects you follow, just supporting in that sense. And then also like in real life, I would say if you get the chance to just talking more about it with women, and letting them like creating that education. So a lot of it is education, and then secondary would be like supporting women-led projects to make it more of a norm.
I was going to say, the easiest way to support women-led projects is just to invest in them and to share their work, to hype them up just as much as they would do any other project.
One of my favorite projects, I'll show you in a minute, is a woman-led project. It's called Women's Pride. I know there's women's pride, like the very famous NFTs on ETH. But yeah, this one, well, I personally think it's very famous. It's Solana. I'll bring it up in a moment. But do you have any sort of role models that are female in the crypto world? I know a lot of well, there seems to be a lot of guys, always that I see on TikTok, Twitter. Obviously, there's Elon Musk as well. He's not directly related to crypto, but are there any female role models within crypto that people can perhaps look up to? Well, there are, but who are they? Sorry, in your opinion?
I would say not only because like I'm part of the project, but this is one of the reasons why I joined the project is Gigi, our founder. So she has been doing an amazing job with going around the country and speaking at every opportunity about this and helping bring like minorities and women into the space. And she, put so much time into that, and also like the Twitter Spaces. So she's definitely a role model to look up to. And then also people like Eva Longoria. I think she's also doing a great job with investing in projects, helping highlight them, and getting really involved with them as much as possible. So those would be two of mine.
Cool.
Yeah, my two role models are Betty from Deadfellas. I just think she's like a total badass, and she's a mom. She's just built an empire for her and her family. And I also really look up to Sarah Bauman from Women in Weapons. Again, she just built this empire from the ground up. She was a one-of-one artist like me who turned it into a generative project. And so always looking up to her as well.
Yeah, I love all the mentioned names. I also love Betty. She's an amazing role model in the space. I think Abby from Top Dog Beach Club is incredible and a real, front runner. I can name them endlessly. I think some of them are also here in the space. I mean, Coco is incredible. We worked with her before. Crypto Tech Woman. I personally also, of course, need to give a shout out to Vidya, our artist, who's a long-time female empowerment advocate. And I would say Vicky from Flower Girls as well, head of community. She's just incredible and so inspiring. There's so many. I can give you a list of over 100 names for sure.
Fantastic. And if the playing field in crypto was level, 50% men, 50% women, or just equal genders, do you think the sort of vibe within the community would be different? And if so, how?
Better.
Yep. And when you say better, I mean, what in what aspects would it be better? I'm sure it would be. But yeah, in your opinion, how would it be? Yeah, better.
More balance is always better, isn't it? More balanced, more equitable, more accessible, more equal. It's always better. And I guess more specifically, I would say more accepting. I don't want to play on stereotypes, but more accepting, more empathetic, kinder, and really driven by missions. I mean, I find that, again, I don't have the numbers right now in front of my eyes, but from what I see, just every other female-led project is incredibly mission-driven, which is something I love. And they have really at their core either a social initiative or how they want to change the space, empower artists, empower women to, really grow their influence in the space, change the world really, not just, it's not just a project, it's a revolution.
Yeah, I would say, that, and just additionally, like not just men and women, but just like diversity in general. Just like it's so diverse, like an artist, an engineer, a customer support person, like they could all be together, and just any race, any person. So yeah, just the diversity part of it in general.
Yeah, and I think too, maybe if it was more equal, kind of like level out that primal, like quick flip sort of mentality and have a little bit more depth and emotion behind it to support some of these like beautiful pieces and projects.
We've got another guest Well, thank you first of all, for your answers. I do agree. It'll be less. I'll be able to relax a little bit more. Maybe there'd be less rugs, which would be good. Okay, so I'm just going to add V to the stream. Welcome, V. And I'm sorry that there's been issues as well with people logging on, but it's great to have you here now. Thank you so much for joining us. Would you be able to introduce yourself at all?
Hi, thanks for having me, guys. Please let me know if my I've been traveling, so I'm not somewhere with the greatest connection, but I am an artist in the NFT space. Been doing this for about a year, and now I'm looking into onboarding more women into the Web3 space and hopefully hosting more retreats for women to like come together and like be able to create stuff together and just networking and bringing more people into the space overall.
And how are you onboarding more women into the crypto space?
So I've like started a Telegram chat where I've just basically allowed a lot of people to just add whoever, like if they're not in the NFT space, if they're just interested in it, or like just any women that wants to get involved in Web3 can join this Telegram chat. And we basically just talk about everything. It's like from personal stuff to like supporting each other to like if we're dropping art or if we need people to come on spaces and everything. So it's a very uplifting group. And now we're gonna host like a retreat and Josh retreat next month. And we're thinking about doing this like every other month to just basically get to know more of the women in the space.
Nice.
That's interesting because we've out Gigi and I we talked about potentially doing that in the future, like a women's retreat where it could be both like you're learning engineering or some tech stuff, but also a chance to just like connect and do yoga and just like a fun retreat in the space. So love that.
Fantastic.
Yes, I'm really excited about it. That's definitely the vibe that we're going for. We're gonna have like sound bath and just basically like recharge and try and like get in our creative zone to see like what we want to create in this space.
It sounds so nice.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I think that's also to your question earlier, like I think that's also something that women bring to the space is usually a lot of projects aren't just like purely investment. Like men tend to put their money where it's like a gambling where they think the project is going to skyrocket, where women think about these other things like a retreat or just merch or how can we be more creative and have a good experience with the whole space.
Yeah, for sure. Like community driven, not just words like in many projects, but it's actual, action from beginning till the end, really. Yeah, because we're also doing something, something different. Actually, we're doing an art driven event, like a guided art tour later on for the holders and sponsoring summer programs for girls interested in Web3. So it's amazing to hear that every project has some incredible different initiative.
Yeah, I mentioned at the start the project that I'm a big fan of, Women's Pride. Their art is what I think amazing, and a lot of NFT projects, their art's fine, but all of your art, sort of on your Twitter accounts and stuff, I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but it looks like it's there's a lot more thought perhaps put into it than a couple of pixels. I don't know if I'm going to get odd messages about that, but the art in the Women's Pride project that I'm part of as well is outstanding. And as well, what you were saying just then about sort of activities within the community, it's more than just investing and wanting it to skyrocket. They do, I think, it's like a charity voting for system. So you vote what charity you want to send to, and then they'll send a percentage of the royalties to that charity, which is great. So do you think perhaps if more women were part of Web3, it would be a sort of kinder and more charitable environment to an extent?
I definitely think so. I think that's kind of part of our nature and our femininity is just to kind of have a little bit more gentleness. And my project, for example, we're actually like trying to host service days. So we hosted one around NFTLA, and we had a lot of people show up, which was really cool. And I think that there is a desire in the community to do good and to get together and to do it together, but it hasn't been fully like able to be organized yet. So I think that's coming in the future more as well.
Yeah, and I know for Crypto Tech Women, we also did something similar where we had our holders vote on which charity to donate a percentage of the sales to. I believe it was like Save the Children. And so, yeah, I haven't seen actually yet any women-led projects that don't have a charity or some sort of philanthropic aspect to it. And I don't know if any of you have, but maybe if it doesn't, I feel like almost like maybe people would want that in it. Because yeah, as a holder, I think as a woman, we feel good, like that we're not just buying a piece of art, but we're buying and like helping contribute to make things better in some way.
Yeah, for sure. And I think from both of you as well, what your projects are doing, it's not just, writing a check, it's actual hands-on. Like you really care for the cause and you want to do something about it, not just, donate money. I mean, similar for us, we didn't want to just write checks for summer programs for the girls, but we wanted to help develop the curriculums and also give them internships, mentor them. So I think a lot of female projects, what I really love that they actually do something physically, not just, writing the check.
Yeah, and we even had like yesterday we did a Twitter space, a town hall, and we had a woman come up and she said that she loves that like Crypto Tech Women right now is affordable because the barrier to entry, like it allows her to be able to buy bulks of them and give them out to people that may not be able to enter the space. So she's buying them from people in Africa, and she's buying them for just like people that she wants to get involved. So I think that part of it is also really interesting.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And as a man or a male or a boy, what can I and also what perhaps can other men in the space be doing? Sometimes I'm worried that I want to do something, but I don't want to be patronizing it at all, and I don't know, should I be doing something actively, passively? What can I and other men be doing?
I think a really cool example, something a few of our holders were doing, and I really love that. They were buying everyday goddesses for their children or for their little nephews. So the actual like babies. So for the future, they wanted to have some project that has the right kind of mission and the art that they love, but it was for them, not for themselves, but for the children, for the girls, and a few men as well who bought it for their wives or for their fiancés to onboard them into the space, and that was their first NFT. So I think that's an amazing example to gift to someone.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that. Oh, sorry, you could go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I think that like men could be more supportive of like some of the female-led projects and actually like change their profile picture to some of these, because I feel like they don't do that enough. Like some may buy it some of these projects, but they won't change their profile picture to it. I think that could help, as well as just like being more involved.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. So yeah, what you said there about the profile picture on Discord, I've actually done that. So I'm just going to show you what my desktop background is as well. Now, hold on, just a second. I'm going to share my screen. Hold on a moment.
We need proof. Don't believe just your words.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So yeah, this is from the Women's Pride NFT collection. It used to be so I've got 3 of them overall. It used to be different on the different screens that I've got, but something weird happened to my computer, and now they're all this one. But yeah, this is the art that I was talking about. But I do definitely think, sort of having the profile pictures. And Sally, what you were saying at the beginning, you can be whoever you want in crypto as well. And I know a lot of men or males within the crypto space, especially in the NFT gaming space, change their profile pictures to women to gain. Well, it's through his scholarships. So it's going down a bit of a rabbit hole. But yeah, essentially they change their profile pictures to women, so they perhaps can get easier scholarships within NFT games. Has anyone here ever changed their profile picture to a man and seen if you got treated differently at all?
I would say not necessarily like a straight up male figure, but I've had like male presenting cartoon like animals and stars and like stuff like that. And I've noticed that if I do, and I have it especially in Discord, people will respond to me like, "Hey, bro," like it's just automatic. Yeah. They just think I'm a dude.
Yeah,
so,
I would.
After you.
Yeah, I was just going to say I also haven't changed it. Maybe that should be an interesting experiment that I do. But yeah, I would say I just had one experience where, and generally like everybody in the space is really friendly and very helpful. But I did have early on one experience as I was just getting into the space where I was asking real questions because I wasn't sure. And a guy thought that I had done that, like changed my profile picture to a woman just so that I could like get a good deal or get a good price on like an NFT he was selling. And so then, he was calling me bro and like that I was, it went down the wrong rabbit hole, but that was just like my experience with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for same. I never tried that. I mean, maybe some gender neutral NFTs, but not like male likeness. But our community have community members, and one of the girls, actually, a few of them had similar experiences. They felt like in non-female led projects, but the animals or gender neutral or male led projects, they felt like they're being treated a bit with neglect, so they would change it to a male likeness just so they don't get this weird treatment. But actually in our server it's other way around. It's like all the men have the goddesses, and everyone calls each other like refers to as a woman, so that's why now we implemented the pronouns as well. But they're like, no, I'm actually a guy. I'm a guy.
Nice. Oh, sorry. Did someone speak then? V, did I cut you off or not? No.
No. It's just like it's very loud right now in my background. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. We are coming towards the end. And if there's a couple of take-home things from this conversation that we can learn from, what would they be? It might be perhaps things that as a social society, maybe just perhaps how you act on Twitter, or it could be everything from what you should be doing in the Web3 space, or how you should be interacting with different genders at school. Anything at all that we can perhaps improve the gender equality within Web3, crypto, even technology. What would the key things, in your opinion? I know that there could be a lot, but if you're just to say 1, 2, or 3 of them, in your opinion, what would they be? If we just go around in clockwise as well to save everyone going like, that would be good.
Yeah, I would just say in general, just treating everyone equal and not thinking about it men or female, just equal, and being kind to one another. I think the majority of the space is kind, but I think we could just always be better.
Yeah, I agree. Be kind always and be respectful. Don't assume anything in the space. You just never know who is behind the PFP. And I would say like take women more seriously. I think it's really easy for men to see our projects and just kind of like brush it off, but take us seriously. We know what we're doing now.
Yeah, I can completely sign under every word. Never pass judgments based on genders, because again, you never know what kind of person there is on the other side. It might be someone very powerful and smart, and you'll regret your treatment in the end. And yeah, I guess also do your, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, do your research. And I mean that I think a lot of female-led projects witness that, especially if they got like this element of, hype or, moment when they were trending, when people buy in with wrong motivations, with wrong goal in mind, where they, maybe, and it's completely okay to, flip or buy for like financial purposes, but try to do your research, understand what the community is about before jumping in. Just because if it's a purpose-driven project, it might not be the style of communication you expect. It might not be the community you expect. So really study it and come in with mindfulness and with purposefulness. Yes,
Definitely.
I agree with what you guys said. Definitely be kind in the space and to take women seriously. I remember when I first joined, it was mostly male dominant, and I had changed my profile picture to a picture of just myself, and I had like a lot of guys just like tell me like, oh, like if you want to be in NFTs, it needs to be your profile picture has to be in NFTs, and like like there was like all of this, and then later on I think they started to like come around and just see that like women can be whatever they want to be on in this space, whether they have their own profile picture or an NFT picture doesn't mean that they're not as involved in the space. So I definitely think that inclusion should be a big part of Web3.
Defo. Yeah, but thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, for being with us. It's been well, so interesting, mind-opening, and it's been great to actually sort of that I've had a lot of questions that I've always wanted to ask that I have done. So, and thank you very much, for all your very in-depth answers. It would be great, to obviously catch up with you again later down the line. We'll stay in contact on Telegram and things. But would you like just to give one more sort of shout out about your project and things before we go, and then we can say goodbye?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, for starting again. Yeah, and I do want to say also, like, one way to support, as your question earlier about men, how they can support more, is they could also and reshare women-led projects that you are passionate about. And even if there's one that you are interested in, maybe even see how you can help support, like even an advisor role. I think everybody has skills that are transferable into Web3. So like even be an advisor, and I'm a big advocate of that. Like my male friends, I'm trying to get them to advise on projects. So I think that's just like a big thing. And yeah, overall, we are Crypto Tech Women, and we're an NFT collection. So yeah, if you're interested, we do have both men and women in the space. It's not all women. So yeah, we'd love to for you to just check us out and potentially join our community.
Yeah, and I am from Stardust Society. I'm the artist and founder, and we also have a lot of great guys in our community. We haven't minted our generative project yet, so you still have time to get in on that. We will be launching in early June. So if you want to get on pre-mint list, hop in our Discord and check us out.
Discord.gg/Stardust Society.
Yeah, that's right.
Great. Good. I've just joined. I'll see you there.
Awesome.
So, yeah, Maria. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'm the founder and CEO of Everyday Goddesses. We are also very much co-ed collection, very much art-driven and utility-driven at the same time. We have a very, very exciting roadmap that we're tackling at the moment. And our art is really what's created with the purpose of marrying and bridging the mundane and otherworldly. So it's quite special and full of symbology and just fun little elements. And yes, please do join our community on Twitter and on Discord. We have actually a really big day tomorrow for us, which is International Bubble Tea Day, which is much our mascot. So we have a lot of fun activities planned around that. So please do join to win some goddesses, physical prizes, and lots of exciting things.
Thank you very much. V.
I don't have a project, but if you guys are interested in coming to the retreats or getting to know more NFT ladies, you could add us. You can add the Telegram chat. It's at NFT ladies. Would love to see you guys there.
I'll be joining. Yeah, maybe I'll leave that one. I don't want to impose. Anyway, but yeah, thank you so much again, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. And if I haven't joined your Discord just as we were going through the little thingamajig there, I'm going to join it right now and I'll say hello there. But thank you very much to all our listeners, viewers as well. And yeah, we'll speak again soon. But thank you to obviously our speakers and guests. It's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.